Hello and welcome to the very first video of Selenium tutorials. So in this video, we are going to talk about the Selenium introductions, features, and components. So we'll see what exactly the Selenium is. We'll talk about the features, what's new added to the features of Selenium, as well as the components of Selenium. So first, let's start with the definition of Selenium. So basically, Selenium is an open source and portable automated software testing tools for testing web application. So basically Selenium tests the web applications, that means the websites. So it has capabilities to operate across different browsers and operating system. Selenium is just not a single tool, but a set of tools that help testers to automate web-based application more efficiently. So Selenium mostly focus on web-based application and it supports multiple browser. And this is one of the testing tools that's used to test the web application in terms of automation. Now, what are the different platforms that it supports, or basically what are the operating system that supports here in Selenium? So it's Microsoft Word, it supports Selenium. In fact, Macintosh, this supports Selenium, Linux supports Selenium. So basically all the different operating system, whatever is available, all is supportable in case of Selenium. Now, when it comes to the programming language, so here you have multiple programming language. Now you can select any one of these programming language out of this: Java, Perl, C#, .NET, Python, Ruby. Out of these programming language, you can select any one of the programming language and start using Selenium on it. So if like Java, then start using the Selenium tools in terms of Java. If you know Python, then you can start using the same in terms of Python. That's what the programming languages means here. So we need one programming language for testing, and that's like you can select anyone. So these are different programming languages that supports here. Now, let's switch to the feature sections. So in feature, the very first feature is Selenium supports multiple browser. Now, by saying this, I want to say like here, it supports multiple browsers, like it supports Chrome browser, it supports the Firefox, it supports Internet Explorer, it supports Safari. So all those browsers, whatever browsers you come across or you find uh, in the real world, Selenium supports all those browsers. Just the thing is that when you are using these browsers, you will add a driver to it, basically a driver that's similar to other browsers. The second thing, it supports multiple programming language support. So here, just you have seen that these are the different programming languages that support, so you can select any one of them. This one is important, upgraded Selenium ID. So Selenium ID was available or was earlier available just as Firefox add-on. Later, it got deprecated with introduction of latest Firefox versions. This is because the add-on in latest Firefox was standardized under the web extension mechanism. So basically, the Selenium ID was updated from Firefox add-on to a complete or to the latest Firefox version. So before it was like it was just for the older versions. Now this is upgraded to the latest version. Now the last one, duplication of desired capabilities. Now desired capabilities was replaced with the options. So in Selenium 4, that's the latest version, in this, capabilities objects are replaced with options. So here first we use desired capabilities. It's still in use, but we have a better option than that is options. This means tester needs to create option objects, set requirements, and pass the object to the constructor. So basically, just you have to select any of the options, like all of these. You see, these are the listed options: Chrome options, Firefox options, Internet Explorer options, Edge options, Safari options. So for every browser, you have options, and these options basically helps to add on those facilities that we cannot add through the packages or maybe through the jar files. So that what options help us to do. And this is very important feature. You will get to know in when you'll come across this, you'll see the best uses of it. So first, desired capabilities was only the option available. Now that's upgraded to the different options for every browsers. This was one of the most important feature. And the last one, modification in action classes. In action classes, before we used to have only the right click, mouse over, and drag and drop. Now there are modification in this action class because we have added few more clicks, a click and holds. We have added double clicks, and basically these actions are the one that's performed through keyboard, or you can say through mouse. So these actions, basically a few more features are added to these actions. A definition for all is mentioned here. Now, when we talk about the components, so these are the different components in Selenium. Like the first one is Selenium Remote Control. Second one is Selenium WebDriver, Selenium Grid, and Selenium ID. So these are the different components available in Selenium. We'll talk about these components in details in our next lecture. This is all about the introduction, features, and components in Selenium. We'll see these components, what exactly it means and all in our next lecture. So RC stands for remote control. So basically Selenium RC is a server implemented in Java. It can accept command from browser using the HTTP. So in automation, test in Selenium RC can be developed in any programming language like Java, Python, C#, and so on. So to initiate these test execution, we have to create an instance of Selenium RC server. So RC makes it possible to write automated tests from a web application in any programming language, which allows for better integration of Selenium in existing unit test frameworks. So there are different components in Selenium. Basically, one of them is Selenium RC, and this is basically the server based. So here, what happens? It's like um, it works based on a server and client libraries. So if you see how the Selenium RC works, it works as a client library, communicates with Selenium RC server by passing every Selenium commands for executions. So it's quite clear that the Selenium commands that we pass, it goes to the server, and based on that, it performs on different browser. So one Selenium server sends the Selenium commands to web browser using Selenium core JavaScript command. Then the web browser runs the Selenium command using its JavaScript executor. So here, the Selenium server sends the Selenium commands to the web browser using this Selenium core JavaScript commands. So then the web browser runs based on the Selenium commands using the JavaScript executor. So basically these JavaScript commands and JavaScript executors are the one that helps to execute the commands which pass to the browsers. So here Selenium RC act as a server, and that helps to perform the test cases here. So now if you want to understand the complete picture of this, so this is how it looks like. So here it's like these are different languages that we select. So you pick any one of the language. Based on that, you use this Selenium remote control server. And once a command is passed through this server, so it goes based on this server, it gives the output on different browsers. Like if the command is based on for Chrome browser, so it gives the output based on the Chrome browser. If it's for Firefox, it goes for that. So this is how it works. So this is the complete structure of Selenium RC, and this is a server-based component of Selenium. That's what we need to remember here. This is all about the Selenium remote control, and this is how it works. I hope it's clear in this diagram, the complete function of Selenium remote control. Now, this is the most commonly used component that in most of the programs, and this is the most suitable in Selenium 4. So you can say Selenium WebDriver is a successor of RC. That means before we used Selenium RC that we talked about in the last video, here now we used Selenium WebDrivers mostly. So the Selenium WebDrivers accept the commands and send them to the browser. So in case of Selenium RC, there was a server. So the commands were passed to the server, and based on that server, the browser worked. But here, that server thing is completely removed. So now what happens here is, here it's very simple. Just you write the command, and that command straight away communicate to the browser. That's all the story of Selenium WebDrivers. So Selenium WebDrivers supports browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer, and so on. Now, Selenium WebDriver does not require a server to initiate test execution. It communicates directly with the browser. That's the point what I was saying. And that's why I say Selenium WebDriver is successor of RC. It's just, you can say it's trying to replace Selenium RC. Selenium WebDriver works on more than one platform. So it's like it works on Windows, the same thing works on Mac, it works on Linux, in Android, and many more. Now, this is how the complete structure of Selenium WebDriver is. This is supporting different browsers, and these are the name of driver of different browsers that supports Selenium WebDriver. So that's all about the Selenium WebDriver. I hope it's quite clear that what exactly Selenium WebDriver is doing and what it's working for. So I'll tell you that we are going to use Selenium WebDrivers in our program, and this is the one that we are using right now for testing purpose. So Selenium Grid is mainly used for parallel testing. It enables us to execute variety test in multiple machines simultaneously. Now, Selenium Grid supports testing on multiple browsers and platforms. So it's like when you're trying to test a multiple test cases, so it's need to be tested in multiple browsers. Now, what this helps in? This helps in reduction in the time. So when you're doing two tests parallelly, then here what happens, the time taken to execute a test case reduces. Now, the ability to run test on remote browser initiates it's useful to spread the load of testing across several machines and to run test in browsers running on different platform or on operating system. So basically you can say this supports the load testing process, like this decrease the load of the testing process. So Selenium Grade mostly works for parallel testing. So when you're looking for a parallel testing thing, you use Selenium Grade. Now in Selenium Grade, you'll come across a term that is hub. So in Selenium Grade, hub is a computer, which is a central point where we can load our test intro. Hub also acts as a server, because of which it acts as a central point to control the network of test machine. The Selenium Grade has only one hub and it is the master of the network. So when a test with given desired capability is given to the hub searches for the nodes which matches the given configuration. Now the thing here is based on the desired capabilities, if like hub, you can say it's a server that's present in one system. So Selenium RC was a server provided by Selenium, and this hub is one that's provided by us or the users. So if you talk about a different system, they have one communication process that has to perform parallel testing. So hub that's present in our system itself. So using desired capabilities, we connect to those hub, and based on that, we get the output. Just like you see in this diagram, here the client sends a request to the hub, basically the hub that's present in our system. So it's like if you talk about APM, it's one of the testing tools in that the APM inspectors are basically these are, or you can say APM server is the one that's installed in our system and that helps to communicate to different browsers. So here the same story is client is the one that we are writing the code and this talks to the hub and based on that it reacts to the different nodes or you can say different operating system and perform the test there. So in this case, the best thing about this hub is it helps us to do testing parallelly. So we can test multiple test cases at the same time. So that's the use of Selenium Grade, and with Selenium Grade comes into use when we are trying to perform parallel testing. So now we are moving towards the programming section. And first thing what we need to see is how to create a project, how to completely set up the structure, and then we'll move to the code, and then we'll write some test cases. So let's see how to create a project. So to create a project in this Eclipse platform is very simple. Just go to this file. From file, go to new, and from new, go to Java project structure. So here, when you go to this Java project structure, you need to give the name of project, the project that you're going to test. So here, I'm going to test just like right now I'm doing a QA project. So I like to give the name as QA. And remember, when you give the name of the projects, avoid giving spaces. Instead, you can give the underscore sign. So you say QA project. That's the name I have given. Now here, the environment, the JRE environment, you can go with a different environment. Like I'm going with SE11. You can go with the latest environment, but I would suggest that SE11 is one of the most, you can say, reliable version. So that's why I go with SE11. Now, usually when you create a project, here comes an option that is a module. So in this module section, you'll see this module usually it's clicked. In my case, it's unchecked. So remember, every time when you create a project, don't forget to uncheck this module section. So this one needs to be unchecked because if you add this module along with your project, then in later, you'll not be able to add the Selenium related files to your project. This prevents from adding. And if it's added, it prevents from using. So that's a point that you need to remember. Once the name is given, straight away do finish and you'll see a project is built with the name as QA project. Now, once the project is built, after this, we'll move to the package section. So the structure, the standard structure, or you can say the professional structure to create a project is first give the project name, then create a package. And the package you will always create inside SRC folder. SRC stands for source. So just do right click, go to new, and from new, go to the package option. And then here, now when you're naming the package, just keep one thing in mind is that give the package name with a lowercase. So right now, just you name the package name. So I'm trying to name the package name as Selenium. Again, no spaces are required. So you can do this way. It's like start with a lowercase, make that a habit, and that's the standard way of naming a package. So just do finish, and you see a package is built here. Now inside this package, I'm going to create all my classes, all where I'll be writing the test cases, I'll be putting inside this package. So here I do right click. And now to create a class, what you have to do is go to new, from new, go to this class option. Now, in case of package, we started the package name with lowercase. In case of class, we will start the class name with uppercase. Make this as a habit, and this is a standard way of writing. So right now I'm creating a class where I want to open a website. So I name the class as open website. Now, next thing that we'll do here is we'll add this public static void main. Now, if you are familiar with Java, you know that this public static void main is important to add to every program because the code execution starts from here. Now, after this, just click the finish and you see the class is built. So just to check whether this complete process is working after the installation and all, I'll write a print statement here. Just write this print statement, you write SYSO, and after that, press Control space from your system, and the print line is here. So once this is here, just write a print message. I write it as this is my first code. Save it, and then click this run button and just see the output in the console window. So yes, this is the output in the console window, and this shows that this setup is ready to start working. This is how you build a project, create a package and a class file inside that particular project. So first we'll see how to download the jar files, and then we'll see how we'll add these jar files to the project. So to download the jar files, it's very simple. Just go to your Google Chrome, and in this Google Chrome, just you need to add the just you need to write here in Google Chrome that download Selenium. Just write this, download Selenium. So when you do this, you see you have this Selenium download, the first link. And this is the official link. Basically, this is the official link, the Selenium, from where you can download the jar files. So click on this downloads. And then here you see you have different options, one for C#, one for Ruby, one for Java. Right now I'm going to use Java. So I'll click in this stable version. You see stable, this is the version, and this is released on a month back. So here I just click and this file will download to my download folder. So now straight away, I'll go to my download folder. And here in download folder, you see Selenium Java, this particular zip file is downloaded. So the first thing what I'll do is I'll extract this, and I'll just click extract all and just extract it to a file. So the one that's downloaded is a zip file, so you need to extract it so that you can use it as a file option. So now this file is extracted, and this is how it looks like. So it's a folder with the same name that you have extract. So in downloads, you'll find a folder with the same name, that is Selenium Java, and this is the folder. Now the next thing, so now it is downloaded. I have extracted the file. So the next thing what I'll do is I'll add this file to my project, the project that's already created in Eclipse. So I'm going to add my Selenium jar files to this project. Now, how to add that Selenium jar files? So here you go to again project, right click over here, and just check this option build path. So from here build path, you'll do configure build path. Click on this configure build path. So when you do click on configure build path, so this option is available here. Now once this option, the screen is here, then in this case, go to the third option from top, that is libraries. That's the third option from top. So when you click on libraries, this section opens. Now after clicking on libraries, you need to click on the class path. And once you click on class path, you will find the buttons next to this is enabled. So go to the second one, that is add external jars. Now when you do this, when you click on this add external jars, so this screen opens, and what you have to do here is, in this case, go to downloads, and here in downloads, you'll find this. You have to look for that folder, the one that you just now extracted, that is Selenium Java. Click on this, click on open. Now when you do this, you see first this is the jar files here, and the next one, this is a lib folder. So you have to add all of these to your project. So just click on one of the jar files and press Ctrl A. So when you do this, all the jar files are copied. Press open and all the jar files are added over here. Now once the jar files are added, click apply. Now I click apply because I have to again add the lib folder as well. The lib folder, the one that's already present there. So again, go to this class path, click here, again come to the right side, click on add external jars. And this time when you click on add external jars, open the lib folder. That is this one. So in this lib folder, you have all your jar files here again. Press Ctrl A and do open. So when you do, all the jar files in the lib folder is also added here. Now click apply and close. So as you do this, you see in your project, a reference library is added. Now this reference library contains all the details related to your Selenium. So you can see all the jar files related to Selenium is added to this referenced library. So now this is the process to download the Selenium jar files and add the Selenium files to the existing project. Driver, both. So the first thing, browser driver in Selenium is a browser automation frameworks that used for cross-platform testing. So Selenium WebDriver is a programming interface that can be used to create and execute test case. It's allow you to test across all major programming languages, browsers, and operating system. So in short, it means this is a communication process where you can run the test cases or where you will see the output of the test cases, what you have written. So all the functioning of the test cases is basically visible in the browser drivers. Now, Selenium WebDrivers act as an interpreter. It allows you to it allows your code to communicate with different browser drivers. So the code that you write, it communicates with the browsers. Basically, you can't use the main browser. If you talk about the Google Chrome, you can't use a website straight away on Google Chrome if it's not live. So in that case, what do? You test on a browser that's called as driver, and it's similar to the main browser that we are using. That's the story of this driver. The driver basically helps you to perform the test cases, or you see the output of the test cases are executed on these browsers. Now, the first one, how to download the Chrome driver. Now, these are the steps how to download the Chrome driver. So first we need to check the version of Google Chrome. So first we'll check the version. What's the version of Google Chrome? So here we'll go to our Google Chrome screen, and first we'll check the version of our Google Chrome, the system that we are using, because we are downloading the driver similar to our browser version. So we need to check the version of this browser. So from here I go to this help, and from help, I do about Google Chrome. So when I do this, you see here it's just updating the Chrome version, and by this it will tell what's the latest version that we are using over here. So right now it's taking time to update. So after updation, you will have the latest version here. Now this is the latest version of our Chrome. So it's 120.0.6099. So we'll download a version similar to this. That means we'll download 120 version of Chrome browser. So now the steps to download, it's basically written over here. Now, the first what we need to do, we need to check the version that we have done. So open the Google Chrome to tap, click on the three-dotted sign, and in right topmost corner, you'll go to help option. From there, you'll go to Google Chrome that we already did. Check the version and then open the link below. So this is the link to basically download the Chrome driver. So straight away, you will download it from there. Now, if you want to go through Google, then here you can write just download Chrome driver. And when you do this, this is the first link that you will go for. So at this link, click here. Now, when you click on this link, this is how the image looks like. This is the current release. So if you see in the steps, it's mentioned that this screen will open. Now, once this screen open, then here what you have to do is just you need to go to this option, the Chrome for testing ability dashboard. So it's written, if you are using Chrome version 115 or newer, please consult the Chrome for testing with ability dashboard. So this is the place where you need to click at this particular text. So when you click, the different versions are available. Straight away, I'll go to version 120. That is this one. It's the latest version here. Now, in your case, if you are using it later, maybe that will be your latest version. So go to that particular version. Now here I'm using the Windows system. So because I'm using Windows, I'll go for the Windows one. So it's this one, Windows 64. If you are using Mac, go for the MacBook. In my case, I'm using Windows, so I'll go with this. Just copy this link. It's very simple. Just copy the link that's available for Windows. Just copy this and open a new tab, paste it there, and then press enter. Now, when you do this, you see a Chrome driver with a zip version is downloaded. Now, because this is a zip file, so as usual, you have to unzip it. And once this file is unzipped, then just for your better use, what do you do? Copy the Chrome driver from here and save in your C drive. So copy it from here, and I would suggest, now this is just a suggestion. If you want to keep it there, then you can keep it, because usually we pass the path of the driver. So it's your choice. Go to the C drive. In this C drive, just inside the program files, paste it here as it's pasted. So it's your choice. You want to paste it here or just you want to take the path from there. It's up to you. So just this is how the complete process, like how we download the Chrome driver, we save it, and later we'll be using this Chrome driver in our real time. So this is how one of the browser as Chrome driver works. Now you have many more browsers. So we'll do one more browser, that is Firefox, because it's very easy. So download the Firefox driver. It's very easy. So what are the steps to download the Firefox browser? So to download the Firefox browser, just you need to go in Google, search for download Firefox driver, click the GitHub link, and once the GitHub page opens, select the option that's marked, that is this one. This is for Windows. Now let's do this. So go to this Google Chrome. Again in Google, write download the Firefox driver. So when you do this, here you will get the GitHub link. This is the GitHub link. Remember the release one. Don't go for any other one. Just go for this one. Click on this. And once you come to this GitHub page, here you'll find different versions defined. Now it's for different operating system. It's for Linux, it's for Mac, and the one that's for Windows, I'll go for that one. So here, this is Windows. Now it's your choice this version you are using. If you are using 32 bits, you can go for 32. If you're going with 64 bits, then you can go with that. So this is the zip file. as usual, you'll download the zip file. And once the zip file is downloaded, then again, you need to go extract it down and start using it straight away. Now here, the file is extracted. Now, again, you go right click, extract it. But the process is quite similar. Just the link, what you're going to use, that's the difference. Again, you have the G-code driver here. Now, my preference is I'll copy and paste it in the C drive. So just I have put all my drivers inside the C drive in program files. That's the best location I find to put all my drivers. So here you can enter this G-code driver. You can save it here. That's how we download the Firefox. Now you'll see the Firefox one is very easy. It's just go search, open a link, copy from there the folder, just download the folder, copy and paste it. So downloading this Chrome driver and Firefox is very easy. And this is what the browsers are. Basically, this is the browser that you'll be using for testing purpose. So it's very important to download and keep these browsers in your system. So in our last lecture, we just checked that there are different components of Selenium like Selenium IDE, Selenium RC, Selenium Grid, and Selenium drivers. So here we'll talk about those components in details. So the very first components is Selenium IDE. So Selenium Integrated Development Environment is an important part of Selenium suite. It was developed as a Firefox plugin. So this Selenium IDE was developed for Firefox plugin. However, now it's available in both for Firefox and Chrome browser. So basically, this is a plugin that's basically available only for the Firefox later, but now it's for both Firefox and Chrome. Selenium commands help us to perform tasks like clicking a button or link, taking input in edit box, obtaining a text from a web element, and so on. Scripts may be automatically recorded and edited manually, providing auto completion supports and the ability to move commands around quickly. Scripts are recorded in Selenium, a special testing script language for Selenium. So Selenium provides command for performing actions in browsers and for retrieving data from the resulting page. So basically, Selenium IDE, it's a part that supports the plugin, and all these are basically supportable in Selenium IDE. So Selenium IDE provides all of this to perform testing. Now the next one, Selenium Remote Control, is a server implemented in Java. It can accept command from browser using HTTP. So basically, these Selenium RC helps to accept the commands from the browser using HTTP. Now, automated test in Selenium RC can be developed in a programming language like Java, Python, C#, and so on. So you know that automation test in Selenium RC, this can be developed using these languages. So to initiate test execution, we have to create an instance of Selenium RC server. So basically, the Selenium RC is the server part of Selenium, you can say. So RC makes possible to write automated tests for a web application in a programming language, which allows for better integration of Selenium in existing unit test frameworks. So this Selenium RC remote control basically helps to integrate the codes in more better way. Selenium WebDriver, basically it's a successor of Selenium, successor to Selenium RC. That means just an upgraded part of Selenium RC. In WebDriver, it accepts command and sends them to the browser. So it's just like, you can say, it's similar to the browser, though it doesn't perform as a browser, but yeah, it acts as a browser. You can say that. Selenium WebDriver supports browser like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, IE, and so on. So it supports multiple browsers that I've already talked about. Selenium WebDriver does not require a server to initiate test execution. It communicates directly with the browser. So here, in case of Selenium RC, we needed a server to communicate. But in case of Selenium WebDriver, it straight away communicates with the browser. So that's the difference. In fact, you can see the difference. In RC, there was a server that basically perform, or that basically helps for the communication purpose. In Selenium WebDriver, just have the driver, put it in your code, and you can straight away communicate. Selenium WebDriver works on more than one platform like Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, and so on. So it's supportable on multiple platforms as well. The Selenium Grid, this is mainly used for parallel testing. It enables us to execute varied tests in multiple machines simultaneously. Selenium Grid supports testing on multiple browsers and platforms. Now, this particular Selenium Grid reduce execution time by allowing parallel execution of test. So now here, when you are doing parallel testing, obviously that will save certain time. That's what Selenium Grid help us to do. The ability to run test on remote browser initiates is useful to spread the load of testing across several machines and to run test in browser running on different platforms or operating system. So Selenium Grid, basically, it's helpful in this way. Basically, it helps to run test cases on different browsers, and this reduce basically, or this you can say this distributes this load of testing. That's how Selenium Grids help you. So this is all about the different components of Selenium, and this is a brief description on the components. We are going to use these commands while writing codes, and it's very important to know about all the commands available in Selenium WebDriver. And these are very useful because we are going to use it in our regular basis. First, let's see what are the commonly used commands. So basically, it's in three sections. One is browser command, the other one is navigate command, and the third one is web element command. So basically, it's divided in three different sections, and every section contains different command. So first, let's check about the browser command. So in this browser command, basically, you have different commands like get method, get title command, get current URL, get page sources, close command, and quit command. So these commands are basically used to perform different operations. It's like get command. This is used to pass the URL, the website URLs we pass in get command. Get title. It helps you to get the title of the current page. Get current URL. This helps you to get the URL of the current page. Get page sources. So this helps you to get the source of the current page. Now close command. This is used to close the web page that's open on your screen. And quit command is basically used to close all the web page open in the Chrome driver. So basically, when you see these names, its function is based on the name as it's written. So it's very easy to remember when if you follow the name, what exactly it's trying to say. Now, navigate command. This is one of the most important command that's used to navigate in different pages. So if you talk about navigate command, there is navigate to, that tells us that to which particular page you want to navigate to. The next one is navigate in forward. So basically this will help you to navigate in the forward direction in the current page itself. If you want to move to the next screen, it helps you to navigate to that particular scene. So if you want to move back, you will use navigate.back. And if you want to navigate or refresh the current page, you will use navigate.refresh. Now here, you have some web element commands. Now these commands are usually used very often. So some of the commands are clear command, send keys, click, is display, is enabled, is selected, submit, get text, get tag name, get CSS value, get attributes, get size, and get location. Now, I say it's very easy to remember all these commands because I tell you, this goes with the name. So if you talk about the clear command, this is used to clear the values if any value is written in the input text. Send keys, this is used to send the value to the input text that's present in an HTML page. So if you want to send any value to a web page, you use send keys. Click, this helps you to perform click on a particular button. So if you have any button or if you have any clickable object, you can click using this click command. Is display, this is used to check whether if you are looking for some value, is it displayed on that screen? So just we use the is display command. Is enabled, just to check whether a button or a particular click is enabled or not. Is selected, just to check whether the contact is selected or not. Submit, this is used to submit the values to like just after username and password, if you want to submit the login details, so it's use the submit command. Now get text, this will help you to get the text from the current page. Get tag name, this will help you to get the tag name of front end page. So get CSS value, this will help you to get the CSS values that's written in the current page. And when it comes to get attributes to a particular section, the values in attributes helps you can fetch it using get attributes command, and get location will give you the location of the current page. So all these commands, if you see when I was just talking based on the names, and the functioning is completely similar to what you are doing in terms of name. So that's how you handle these commands, and these are the different commands that you'll come across while writing codes in Selenium. So just follow them and use them according to the requirement. So we have learned a lot about the Selenium, as we have seen the theory slides where we talked about the common steps that we are using and what's required for Selenium. Now we are going to write our first test case in Google Chrome, where we'll try to open a website. I say we'll try to open the Amazon website, and we'll see how it works. So in the common steps, where I explained that there are few common steps that we write in every Selenium programs. So we'll see how to write those steps. So let's get back to our Eclipse. And here, while testing our Eclipse, I did create this open website program. So here I'm going to use that, in fact. Now, while explaining the common steps there, I mentioned that first 3 steps will be set the path of driver, second, create the reference of Chrome driver, and third will be like using the get method to pass the website link. So we'll see how to use them here. So the first step will be, here we use system dot set property. Now here you'll see set property method that's used to pass the website. Basically, it's used to pass the driver details. So in this set properties, first we'll mention that which driver we are using. That's the first thing we'll do. And next we'll see that the location where I've saved this driver will pass that. So let's pass the driver here. So because we are using here a Chrome driver, so I'll pass the details of Chrome driver here. So if we talk about the details, so this will be the details of Chrome driver that we are going to pass here. Like webdriver.chrome.driver. So we'll pass this here. So this means, this tells that we are using Chrome driver here. Now next one, I'll pass the location where our Chrome driver is. So in my case, the Chrome driver is in this location. It's in C program files and it's Chrome driver.exe. So I'll pass this location of our Chrome driver. Now next, once this is done, the next step is set the path of, or basically next step is to create an object of Chrome driver. So because we are using Chrome driver here, so in Selenium, we have a class named as Chrome driver, and the object name I'll just write here as browser object. Now this name, you can write anything you like. So I'll write here as browser object is equals to new. And again, I write Chrome driver. So now what I'm doing here is I just create a reference of Chrome driver. And because this Chrome driver is defined in Selenium, so I'll take my mouse over this Chrome driver and just I will import the package, the Chrome driver package here. That's what imported here. Now, once this is import, the next what I'm going to do is using this object. Now, this object, browser object, are the name that I've given. Now, this is just a name. You can give any name you like. And this object name, using this, we will call different methods and we will identify the elements here. So first, I'm going to use the get method. And in this get method, I'll pass the website link in double quotes. So here, I'll just pass the website link, the one that I'm trying to open here. So here I'm trying to open the Amazon website. So I'll pass this website link here. And after doing this, I'll save this. So now these are the 3 common steps that we will write in every test case. Remember that. So when you are writing any test case, the first 3 steps that you'll come across is these 3, and you have to define for every program. Now I do run here. So when I run this, you'll see a driver opens that's looks this way. Now here, this opens the Amazon website and it's mentioned Chrome is being controlled by automated test software. So if it says Chrome is being controlled by automated test software, that means this is the Chrome driver. And this opens the website, and whichever website link you pass, this opens in this drive. So this is how we start writing our test case, and this is how we pass the website link using Chrome driver. Locators. So basically, we'll see the interaction with elements using locators. So here we'll get to know that what are the different types of element that we'll come across and what are the locators that we'll be using in our code. So these locators are one of the most important part of code because this we'll be using it very often. So we'll go through the deep discussion of this particular concept. First, let's see how to read web elements. So there are various techniques by which the WebDriver identifies the form elements based on different properties of web elements like ID, name, class, XPath, tag name, CSS selector, link text, etc. So WebDriver provides two methods to find the element. The first one is find element that finds a single web element and returns as a web element object. And second one returns a list of web elements object matching the locator's criteria. So find element and find elements are two methods that's usually used to find the elements in a web page. Now reading web elements, the methods that's used to read the web element is by.id. So basically here by is a class that's used to identify the elements based on the locators. So that's why we define the elements inside the find elements this way: by.id, by.name, by.xpath, by.css selector, etc. So locate the elements in page using these properties like ID, name, or XPath. Now the thing is, these ID names I was talking about, and we are looking into this in last slide as well, that there are these IDs name that we talk in terms of elements. Now these ID names, tag names, class name, link text, partial link text, XPath, CSS selector, these are different types of locators. Now, if you talk about the definition of locator, so locator is a command that tells Selenium IDE which UI element is needed to operate on. Locators are the way to identify an HTML element on a web page, and almost all UI automation tool provides the capability to use locator for identification of HTML elements on web page. So just to identify the HTML elements, basically, we talk about the elements like buttons, we talk about the elements like click, or the input text. So all these elements, to identify these elements, we need these locators. So to identify these elements, we will use any one of these locators. So you need to remember all of these locators, and just will be using any one of these locators to identify all these elements. So this is all about the web elements and the locators, and this is how we are using it. And this is what you need to remember when you are writing a code, or basically when you are trying to identify an element in a web page. Now, DOM is basically a section of HTML that you need to know before getting into the Selenium, because here you'll be using locators and many more things. So it's better that you get an idea of DOM, that what exactly it is and how it looks like, and what exactly we do in DOM. So first, let's understand the definition of this DOM. Basically, this stands for Document Object Model. So DOM is a Selenium is in Selenium WebDriver is an essential component of web development using HTML5 and JavaScript. So full form of DOM is Document Object Model. So we need to understand the DOM structure to automate a website. This helps to connect to an element in website. So basically, when you will inspect an element, or when you look for the details of the element, that will be available in that section, Document Object Model. So there are three components in DOM. One is window, other one is document, and the last one is element. So let's go through all these structures one by one. So the first one is window. So in window is the object that contains the documents or description object in DOM. It sits on top of everything. Now, when it comes to document, it's the beginning point of DOM tree. It has several methods, properties whose scopes applies on entire document like URL, get document, get elements by ID. So it says here, now the windows is basically one that contains the document, the description of the objects in DOM. So it's basically that section where all the documents or details are mentioned. In documents, this is the beginning point of DOM tree. It has several methods, properties that scopes to entire documents like URL, get the elements by ID. So you'll come across these methods that comes inside the document section. Now, element is an object represented by a node in a DOM tree of a document. As always, element object itself is just a contract of properties, methods, and events between a browser and a HTML document. So basically here, elements are those that's available in a web page. if you talk about a button, that is an element. So that is basically, you can say, it can say it's a point where it helps to communicate between, basically it's a communication between browsers and the HTML documents. So these are different components, and when you inspect an element, the section where all the details are available, that's called DOM. Now this is the structure of DOM. This is how the HTML file looks like, and this is how the model looks like. So it's basically our documents. Inside documents, we have the HTML file, we have head, body, title. So these are a little bit of HTML that you have to get familiar to. So here it's like we use the HTML tag, and inside the HTML tag, we have the head sections, we have the body sections, and all these sections. So in head sections, we write the title. Again, in the body, we write the code. So these are different tags that we use here. And document object model, basically. So based on these HTML files, the codes, whatever you write, these codes are visual to it's visual of every web page, and we inspect this element and we get the visual of this code, and that's called the DOM section. So once a code is visible to us, there basically the section where these codes are written, that's called document object model. Insert. That's the story of DOM. So basically here we'll see what exactly this ID locator is and how we'll be using this ID locator in one of the examples. Now, ID locator. ID locator in Selenium is the most preferred and fastest way to locate desired web elements on the page. ID Selenium locators are unique for each element in DOM. Since IDs are unique for each element on the page, it's considered the fastest and safest method to locate elements. So usually when you define an element, in the element when you keep an ID, that's always a unique. So if a ID locator are unique for each element in DOM, then in that case, IDs, it's easy to locate and it's fastest to operate. You can say that. That's why we refer for ID locator. So this is one of the locator that we will usually use to identify the elements. Now, how to locate the elements using ID? So first identify the element to locate, which particular element you are trying to locate, identify that. Then right click on the element and select the inspect option as it shows in the picture. Select the inspect option. Once the inspect is done, then select the locators from the element sections as shown in picture. So once you have inspect, then you see this highlighted section. So from this highlighted section, you need to identify the locator. Basically the ID locator, the name locator, whichever locator you are looking for, you need to identify that locator and then execute the program. Now, right now, what we are going to do is, this is one of the page. Now, this Google page, what you see, this opens by default. So the actual page, if you want to see, it's like that. When we write www.google.com, so this gives you the actual Google Chrome page. So in actual Google Chrome page, you have a search bar. Along with that, you have a Google search button. In this case, what you do usually, it's like we enter the value, we press enter, and we get the output. Here, it's same. But if you go with the automation process, it will be like enter the values and then click the Google search button. So through this search bar, we'll see how to identify locators and how to use the locators and what exactly the locators do. So in this case, if I ask you to do the code manually, what you will do, if I ask you to search any term, like if I ask you to search for Selenium, so you'll write that word Selenium here, and then you'll press enter and you'll get the expected output. Now, this is how you enter the values manually. Now, the same thing when we write in terms of automation, what we need to do, we need to connect to this particular search bar. So if you see this search bar, we need to connect, we need to inspect this element and send the values here. And this through automation. So how to inspect this? Go to this section here. This is the input box. Go here, right click, and you'll find this inspect option. So after doing right click, you will get this inspect option. So once you do this inspect option, by default, you'll see a highlighted section here. And this is basically the DOM structure. So inside the elements, you'll find this highlighted section. So this highlighted section defines this search bar. And when you read this highlighted section, you'll find number of attributes here. Now these JS name, class, JS actions, ID, max length, name, these all are called as attributes. Now, from these attributes, we have to find our locator. So we will go for the ID locator. Now here you see it's mentioned ID is equals to certain value. So I'll go for this locator and try to send the values to the Google search. Now let's do this in form of code. Now this is the last program. Now we'll do a new program. So in this, what we'll do is we'll create a new class and name this class as locate by ID and click this main method as usual. Now, as I mentioned that the first 3 steps will be common. So just I'll copy this step from an old program. Like if I copy it from here, these 3 steps. So this will be the first 3 steps that usually we'll be using for to run a code. Now here I'll change the website link. In get method, I'll just change it to www.google.com. Now this will open the Google page. Now what's our next task? Our next task is to send values to that search bar. So to send values, you remember in my last videos, I talked about the elements. In elements slide, I mentioned that there are different types of elements like find elements, and inside the find elements, we have a class called as by, and using that by class, we call the locators. So the same thing we are going to do here. We will use the browser object, the object name dot, just write FIN, and you will get this option, find. The first one, take this, just press enter and it's here. Now remove this null and write by here, because by is the class that's used to call the locators. After by, give dot. Now, the things that you get in hint, this will only be visible once you give dot. If you write something after the dot, this will not be visible. So after this giving dot, when you write the first letter, like I want to get the ID from here. So I write I and I get this ID in hint. I'll take it from here. Now remove this null value, give double quotes, get back to the search field here. And here this is ID is equals to this particular value. So just go and click on that value inside double quotes. That is APJFQB. This is the value. So just double click on that and this will highlight. Press Ctrl C and you'll be able to copy the value. Press Ctrl V and you'll be able to paste the value. Now, by doing this, you have located that particular element. That means the search bar is identified now. Now what next? In that search bar, you have to send values. So to send values, you'll use a method called as send keys. I have talked about this method as well when I was talking about the common methods in Selenium. So send keys, remember for always, send keys is a method to send the values in input box. Now here I'll send the value as Selenium. Now here I'll send the value as Selenium. So remember, send keys is a method to send values to the input box. Now save this and run this code. Now once you run, you'll find the Chrome driver, and you see here in this Chrome driver, the value Selenium is passed. So just by doing this, I have located this element and I have sent the values to the search bar. So this is how we locate element, send values by using the ID locator by name. So in the last video, we checked that how to locate element by ID. So here the process is similar, just we'll see how it's working. So first let's understand the name locator. Sometimes name locator is used to identify the elements on web page. Locating element by name is same as the ID locator. So you have already seen in the last video when we inspect that section there, we had ID locator as well as name. Now here we have multiple of locators for one particular element, and our choice is which locator we'll go for. Now, if you talk about the preference, then I would say that all the locators have equal preferences. So it's like you can go with any locator, that's not a problem. Now, if there are multiple elements with same name locator, then the first element on the page is selected. So it's like if you see you have 3 elements with the same name locator and the value, then in that case, the first locator that you'll be using or the first element that identifies that particular locator, that page will be selected. So the small story here is that name locator works same as the ID locator, and the process will be similar. Now it says how to locate the element using name. So first identify the element to locate, then right click on the element, select the inspect option. Once the inspect is done, then select the name locator from the element section. It is the same way as is for ID. So the complete process. So the last time when you saw the image that we did inspect and we went for that element, same is the process here. Now let's try this in terms of code. So here let's create a new class and name this class as locate by name this time. Now to make things easier, I'd just like to copy from the last code. So in the last code, the complete process, whatever I'm doing here, the complete process will be same. Or I say the first 3 steps as usual will be same. The next one will do the changes there. So first 3 steps, I keep it same. The next one will be like browser object dot find elements. And there I say by dot. Now this time I'll go for the name locator. Remove this null value, give double quotes, get back to the Google page. And here I'll see name locator name is equals to Q. So I'll pass that value here, Q. And then I do dot send keys. Now again dot send keys to send values to the search box. So the complete thing is same, just we are changing the locators here. And you see how easy it looks. Just we change the locator, we take the value inside it. And then when we run this code, you'll see this value again passed to the input box. Now I save this, run this. So if you try to follow these things in comparison, you'll find it easy to learn, trust me. It becomes very easy for anyone to learn this instead of going through the process one by one. So now you see, again in this Chrome driver, the Selenium value is passed. Now the same thing is done with 2 different locator. And that's what we are doing in this cases. So this is how we locate the elements by name and send the values to the input bags. Now this one is interesting. In this XPath, you will enjoy both ways. Like there are multiple ways of writing the XPath. So I picked the 2 ways of writing the XPath that will be helpful and in fact interesting to use. So this is here you'll get to know different ways to write the XPath. So first let's understand the XPath thing. So the XML path language is used to uniquely identify or address parts of XML document. So XPath is required to find an element on a web page as to do an operation on particular element. And XPath expressions can be used to search through an XML documents and extract information from any part of document such as element or attributes in it. Now the scenario here is like you are not familiar with the ID, the name, the class name, these type of locators. Then in that case, you can use the XPath. So XPath, you can write the XPath based on the attributes, as well as you can generate your own XPath straight away here. So that's the story of XPath, and that's why we are using the XPath. Now let's see how to use this XPath in same example. So here I'll do right click, I'll go to new and I'll say new class, and I'll say locate by XPath. I do this. As usual, I'll copy the common steps here and I'll do the changes here. Now, while you are building the XPath, there are few steps that you need to follow. So what are those steps? First, we'll see that. So there are 2 ways to create an XPath. The first one is the syntax here. Give /, write the tag name, give the @ and then write attribute is equals to value. So these things all will be present there by default. So I'll write the syntax in both ways. So this is one way of writing. And the other way is right click on the element, go to inspect option, check the highlighted section. Now, once the highlighted section is checked, then again go to that section, right click on the highlighted section, move to the copy and then select copy XPath. The complete XPath is copied and then paste it in the section where to use it after copying. Now these are two ways. So I'll use the XPath in both the ways. First, I'll again, as usual, write browser object dot find elements. Now when you write the same steps again and again, it becomes easy for you to remember that how we are writing these steps. After that, by XPath and in XPath. Now the first syntax, if you remember, we give forward slash, get back to Chrome. It says the tag name. So the tag name here is text area. It's based on the steps that you see here. So first the tag name, give the square bracket. Inside the square bracket, give the @. Then go for the attribute. Now here you have multiple of attributes. I'll go with this type attribute. So right here, type is equals to, give single quotes, take the value from here, that is search. So I take the value from here, that is search. I copy this, paste it over here. Now the tag name using this, the XPath is build. So this is how we write the XPath manually. And then by using send keys, I'll send the value as Selenium path. I'm just sending this value. Now save this and just run this. So when you run, you'll find this value in the Chrome driver. So this is one way of writing the XPath. Now the next way of writing the same XPath is quite easy and interesting. So these are the steps that we have to follow to write the next XPath. Now I'll do the same thing in terms of code. Now I'll copy the same step here, copy. I'll just paste it here below and I'll comment this line because we are not using this XPath now. Just to comment, give the forward slash. Now remove the XPath value as well because this is the value that I have written manually. Now what I'll do here is I'll go to this section, right click here, go to copy, again, copy XPath. You see this option. So you have to follow this process. Go right click, from there go to copy, and from copy go to copy XPath. Now this done, paste it here. Done. So this is more easy than writing manually. So it's like you can go with any process. So this one looks very easy. Just go to the highlighted section, right click, go to copy, and from copy go to the copy XPath. Let's save this and run this code again. Now this time again, the value is passed here to the Chrome driver. So these are the two ways of writing the XPath. There are many more ways, but these two are the commonly used steps and process. So we'll follow this for the timing. And this is how so we have already seen the locators like ID and name. Now we'll talk about the CSS selector. So first we'll go with the definition of CSS selector and then we'll understand the pattern. So CSS selector in Seleniums are the string patterns used to identify an element based on combination of HTML tag, ID, class, and attributes. So this means that when we write the CSS selector, we write it based on a certain pattern. Now the pattern will be combination of what? The HTML tags, basically the beginning tags. Along with that, we can add the ID, we can add the class name or any attributes like. Now locating my CSS selector in Selenium is more complicated than various method. Obviously, this will be a complicated portion because we are looking for the tag name, we are looking for the values as well. But in the most commonly locating strategy of advanced Selenium user, because it can access even those elements that has no ID or name, we go for CSS selector. So in some cases, if you don't have the ID and name locators available, then in that case we can go with CSS locator, because CSS locator creates the combination with the tag names, and along with that we can add the attributes. Now if I talk about the attributes, I've already mentioned attributes are those that stores the value of that particular web element. Now the thing is that when these attributes are present, you can pick any attributes instead of ID name. Now CSS selector mainly use the character sequence pattern, which identifies the web element based on their HTML structure. So this creates the sequence pattern which is identified based on the web elements on their HTML structure. Now let's see how to use this CSS selector. So as usual, I'll create a new class here and name this class locate by CSS. Now you see the names I'm giving quite similar to the task that I'm doing. So make a habit to do the same. Now, the first few steps, again, I'm going to copy that. The first three steps, it's same. Now you see in every code, this is the common step that we do, and I'm adding it here. Now, once this is done, then what I'll do here is, again, using browser object, I'll call the method as find element. Inside the find element, I write the by class, and this time I'll go for CSS selector. So this is the CSS selector hint. Remove the null value, give double quotes. Now let's understand how to use this CSS selector. So this is the section, and as I've already mentioned that the first letter, like if you talk about text area, so this text area is the input tag. So I'll write text area. After that, give this sign. And now from here, you can take any of the locators, like you can take class, you can take ID, you can take name, or any of these attributes. You can take JS name, you can take row. In fact, row is a number, so I'll avoid taking that. You can take any of these values, whichever is present here. And these like autocomplete, or again, this is a common thing, will not take that. So it's like this type is equals to search. These all are attributes in HTML. So here I'll go with the common step, that is ID. So I'll take ID, and inside ID, I'll copy the value. I'll mention ID, and just straight away mention the ID, that ID value that I'll be using. So what's the value? This is the value. So I'll paste it here. Now by doing this, again, it's an input box. So it's obvious that I have to send values here. So I'll use send keys method, and in send keys, I'll send the values to search, that is Selenium ID. This is the value that I want to search. Now I close this, save this, and let me run again. So here you see Selenium ID is passed to the Google Chrome driver. So this is how we use the CSS selector, and this can be used in mostly in those cases when the ID and name locators are not available. So we'll see what exactly the link text is and how to locate this element link text. So if you talk about link text, a link text in Selenium is used to identify the hyperlinks on a web page. It is determined with the help of anchor tag, and in simpler words, we can say that a text which is in form of link is the link text. So usually when you see in a website a text that appears a text to you, but in real it's a link. So that's the link text. So link can be accessed using the exact text or partial match of the text. In case if we find two links for same text, then in that case, the first link will support. So in a page, if you have two links with same text, then in that case, the first link will basically work. The text with the first link will work, not the next one. So that's what the link text is all about. Now, let's see how to use this link text. So this is the Google Chrome page, and here in Google Chrome page, you have this Gmail. Now, if you look from outside, this Gmail looks like a text to you, but in real, it's a link text. Now, everyone knows that. So now let's write code for this and see how it's working. So here again in Eclipse, we'll create a new class and name this class as, this time I'll name the class as locate by link text. Locate by link text. And take this public static void main and do finish. Now, as usual, again, I'll copy the first 3 steps. Now, why I do copy and paste it is like to make things easier. If I keep writing these steps again and again, then in that case, you'll feel like, again, I'm writing the same steps. So it's better copy and paste it here. Now, what you have to do next is just using browser object. So here, first, you need to identify that element. So the first thing is you need to identify this Gmail text. So how you will find this Gmail text? So to find this Gmail text, you'll write browser object dot find element by dot link text. And in this link text, you'll pass the text that is in form of link. So what you are trying to do is you are trying to identify this element, that whether this element is a link, that means this text is link or not. Now the thing is that when you use this link text, this Gmail text is identified. But to know that this Gmail text is the one that you have identified, it's this one is basically displayed as text link or not. To do this, what we will do is we'll store this value in web element. So web element is basically, you can say it's a class in Selenium WebDrivers that's used to store the values of element. The values of element. So remember, this is only used to store the values of element. Along with this, you are not allowed to use any method. So if I use any method along with it, straight away I get error. So this is only used to store the values. That's all. And the values of only the elements. Now the value of this Gmail text is stored here. Now I'll write a if condition, just saying that is this the details of this Gmail or the link is stored here in this text. So I'll say text dot is displayed. So when I say text dot is displayed, that means it will check whether that text is displayed or not. So if it's displayed, then it will print the text is a link. That's all. If it's not, then in that case, it will print the else part. Now, this is for our convenience to know that thing is a link or not. So this output will print in our console window. That's all you have to do. Now, just when you run this code, nothing happens. Is just like the Chrome browser opens and this particular web page is checked. Once it's checked, then it gets back to the Eclipse. And here, you see, I get the output text is in link. That means this if condition works. So using is displayed, it's identified that, okay, that link text is displayed there. So that's why I get the output in if part, not the output in else. So from here, I can identify that Gmail is identified as a link text. So in this case, we use the link text. And this is how we use the link text. Now, one more step that I'll add here is that if you want that after the text is performed, if you want to close the browser by itself, then you can write browser object dot close method, and this will close the browser by itself. So you don't need to go and close the browser. After the code is run by itself, the browser will close and you will get the output here. So you don't need to do anything here. So this line browser object dot close, this close method is used to close the driver that's open in your screen. So that's all about the link text locator, and this is a step that you can add to all of your codes. And this is how the locators are working. And in future, you can use this locator based on the requirements. So we'll see how to look how elements are located by class name and how we send the values to these elements. So it's very simple. It's similar to other locators. So class name locator gives the element which matches the value specified in the attribute name class. So here the attribute name will be class. And in case of class name, the value of class name can be a multiple value. So in this case, we'll select any one value. For example, you see here in class name, the value is header. In double quotes, I have just given a random two values, and there is space between these two values. So in this case, I can take any one class name, not both. So usually when we copy the values, we copy the complete value inside the double quotes. But in case of class name, we'll not do that. In case of class name, if there is a space between two class names, so it's like you can say that it's two different class names. So in this case, we'll take any one. We'll take either header or we'll take heading. Now the steps are similar the way we do in other cases, and this is how the class name looks like. Just you have to see that if there is there any space. If there is no space, then you can take that value and just run it. If there is space, then you have to keep in mind that if you take any one, the value before the space or after the space. Now let's write this in terms of code. Now I've already put the links, everything. I passed the Google page. Now let's go to the Google page, locate here. And this is the class name. Class is equals to double quote. So the value that you find inside this is called as class name. So here I write browser object dot find elements by dot class name, and I paste the value. And as usual, I use send keys and send the values as Selenium 1, Selenium Python, and just save it. Now after it's saved, I'll run this code. So when you run this, you see the value is passed here, Selenium Python. So this is how you locate the elements using class name and pass the value to what test scenario is, and we'll try to see the steps to write a test scenario. The test scenario is one of the important things that you need to know because you'll be writing the test cases. So it's very important to understand the scenarios, and you need to know how to write the test scenarios, or basically how to identify the test scenarios, how to understand the requirements is very important to know. So first, let's understand what's the test scenario. So test scenario is known as scenario test. This is documentation of test cases. Now, when you do write a test cases, you get a clear documentation from the team that, okay, you have to perform this, and these test cases. Now, a complete documentation comes to you where you write where all the test cases are written. The test cases that we perform, we write in steps with a proper description. Now you can say this is a little bit a manual part of thing where you are writing the test cases, you write the actual test case, the result expected, as well as the description of test case. But it's very important to understand the test scenario that you are doing here. In other words, we can say that test scenario describes an action of user that they will perform on websites and app. So the test scenario is basically that section where the complete action is described. So just by reading the test scenario, one can easily understand that what exactly we are going to perform. The test scripts are the program that executes tests on software, products, or application. So based on the test scenario, we write the test scripts, and that is in form of program. And that's completely based on the test scenario. Now, steps to create a test scenario for an application. So first is review the software requirements, anticipates the actions of the users, developed a scenario to test, align the requirements, and expected output with each scenario. So it's like once the software comes to you, review the software. You need to try that particular application as a user perspective. Then develop the test scenarios, and the test scenarios should be in that form that what actually you are doing, what you are expecting the output with a proper description that, okay, after login, for example, if you are doing login, for login, you'll say that, okay, this is my test scenario. I expect that you log into an application using a username and password. You expect that you log in successfully. And at then you'll write a description that if everything, if the username and password is working fine, then you can easily log into a website. So that's what test scenario is all about, a brief understanding of the test cases that we are going to perform in terms of testing. So that's a small overview on test scenario. We'll talk about the different sections of automation testing. So till now we have seen how to send values to the input box. Now we'll see how to perform click on any button. Now this is very easy. Just you have to follow a few steps like as usual when you open the website, you need to locate the button and then click on the button located. So the very first thing you need to do is you need to locate that element. Once the element is located, then you need to perform click on that button. That's all you have to do to basically automate or basically to perform click on a button. Now let's do this in code. So here in this program itself, what we are going to do is we are going to click this send button. So the last time you see it, we entered the values to this name, email, website, and comment, but we didn't click the send button. So here we are going to click the send button. So as usual, I'll do right click, I'll go to inspect, and in inspect, I'll try to see the locators available. So here I find the locator as name. So I'll take this locator name here. So I write here, just below this, I'll be writing just next to this. I'll write browser object dot find elements, and here I say by dot name, and the name here will be submit. So also remember to perform click, you'll always use a method called as click. So this method helps you to perform click on any button or a link that's surrounded with a tag. So when you do this, save this and run this code. Now this time you'll find the values passed, and then it clicks the send button, and in your input you find the values like name, email, infotech, website. So after entering the values, the send button was clicked, and so it was able to pass the values here. So that's how the button automates and work in case of Selenium. Now here we'll basically automate a form page, and in this form page you'll have different sections like input box, radio button, checkbox, drop downs, alert. So we'll go through each and every sections one by one. So right now in this video, just we'll do a simple thing. It's we'll try to send values to all the input box available in form. So what we need to do here is first, let's see the steps here. So we'll automate the complete form in section wise. In this section, we just automate the input box. So we'll send value to the fields like name, email, websites, and comments. Now, points to remember. In every Selenium code, we will add the first three common steps that I've already shown you in the locators sections. Create the reference objects, like these are the three steps. Set the path of driver, create the reference or object of the driver. And third, using the reference, we'll call the get method. We'll call the get method. And in the get method, we will pass the website link using get method. At last, remember to send values to any input box. At last, to send values to any input box in web page, we'll use send keys method. So you know that as well, that to send values to any input box, we need the send keys method. Now let's see how the form looks like. So this is how the form looks like. We have different sections like name, email, websites, and comments. So to every sections, we'll send values through automation. Now here, this is the radio button, this is the checkbox, this is the drop down, and below is the send keys. And after that, below this comes the alert me, confirm me, and prompt me sections. So we'll cover each and every sections in a different video. So in this video, We'll just cover these 4 sections. So we'll see how to send values to these 4 fields. So let's get back to Eclipse and create a class and name this class as fill form. As usual, I'll take the first 3 steps from here. And here I'll change the website link this time. So the website link here will be this. Now, once the website link is passed, the next step that we are going to do here is we'll locate the the name section first. So go here, as usual, right click, go to inspect, and when you do inspect, you get the highlighted section here. Now from this highlighted section, I'll identify the which locator to use, and the locator here is name. So I'll write here browser object dot find elements by dot name, and again I'll copy the value inside it, that is name, from here and paste it over here. And I'll use dot send keys. I'll paste the name here, and then I'll use dot send keys to send values. So I'll send the name as infotech. Now for the second step, I'll do the same thing. I'll copy this and I'll paste it here. Now in this case, I'll go with the next locator. I'll go right click here, again go to inspect, and this time I'll take the email. Now in email, again you have two options, either you can go for ID or you can go for name. Right now here, I'll prefer going with name. So I'll copy the value from here, send it here, and just I'll write the email address this time. So now you can start writing the steps. You can copy and paste because the steps are quite similar, and I hope you're familiar with these steps. Now again, the third one is also very simple. What I'll do, it's like I'll use the same step. I'll copy the same step, and here I'll change the value of name locator again. This time, again, I go to website, I right click here, I inspect, and the website here, the name is website. So I copy this locator again. The value inside the locator, I copy it, paste it here, and this time I'll pass the website link. So I do www.infotech.com. Now for the last section, again, this time we'll copy the same step. So you see the steps here is quite common. Just what's changing is the values in the locator. That's important to know, that how to change the values in locators. So just you need to go inspect the locators again in the comment section, right click, do inspect. Now here name is equals to comment. So I copy this name, paste it over here, and done. Now here I'll write a comment, that is this is a new website. Got it. Now here I have entered the data to each and every field. Now what to do from here is just click the run button and see the values are passing over there or not. So as you see here, the Chrome driver screen is open and the values passed here. The one that we passed, the infotech solution at the gmail.com website is here. And this is a new website that's also passed. So this is how we send the values to these input boxes. So in last video, we just checked how to handle the radio buttons in Selenium WebDrivers. Now we are going to check how to handle the checkboxes. So it's very simple. And in fact, it's similar to the radio button. Just one difference is there in between the radio button and checkbox. We'll see that. Checkboxes are widely used on web pages to offer multiple choice. To select, users may get a list of choice in checkbox. This is the difference. Here in checkbox, user has list of choices to select. In case of radio button, it's one at a time. So this is the major difference between radio button and checkbox. In case of radio button, we get select only one value at time. In case of checkbox, we can select multiple values at time. Now rest the steps are similar. So here, the first three common steps you have to write: inspect the check buttons. In this example, we'll locate elements by using the XPath locator, then use click method to perform the click on object. So again, this is my checkbox section. I do go here, right click here, and then I inspect. So once you inspect, you see this is the highlighted section, and here you see we have name locators, we have boat, we have XPath, all these locators available. So it's our choice which locator we'll go for. So we'll do one thing here. It's like we'll go with the name locator. So here we'll write again browser object dot find elements, and I say by dot name, and in name I pass the value here as let's take the name value from here, that is bike. Now here, because it's a multiple selection choice, so we'll go with the multiple choice, and I'll do dot click. Now same with the next one, browser object dot find elements. Again, I'll do by dot name, and this time I'll go with the next locator, that is car, and dot click here again. Same with the next one. This time we'll change the locator from car to horse. So yeah, the locator here is the value here is boat, and the next one is horse. So we'll go with boat this time, and the next one will be horse. So that's simple it is. Just locate, do, perform, click method, and it's done. Now save this and run this code. So you'll see that the elements are selected and passed over here. Now just a small difference you see here is the values like bike, boat, and horse is passed, but not the car value. Now this is also a thing that we need to know, that only bike, boat, and horse, these three values are passed, not the car one, because we clicked on the car as well, but the car value is not passed. The reason behind this is, you see this car is selected by default. So if you go and click on the car again, then this value will get unselected. So that's the reason behind that. If you click on car, that value is not selected anymore. Now, this is how we handle the checkboxes, and how we select, this is how we select the values, multiple values in terms of checkbox. So there are certain methods that helps to check whether a button is enabled or it's in disabled phase. So we'll see through this video that how we can perform that task. So first, let's understand what this verify button status mean. To determine the element is enabled or not, we use the method provided by Selenium, that is enabled method. So in Selenium WebDriver, is enable method will verify and return a true value if the specified element is enabled. Otherwise, it will return a false value if it's not enabled. Now, this is how the syntax it looks like. To check when there is a condition where we need to take any action based on the element status. So in this program as well, what we are going to do is we'll check the button whether it's enabled or disabled. So we need to check the status of that particular button. So we'll see how that's working in terms of a Boolean. Now these are the steps that we'll perform. We'll write the first three common steps: inspect the button of the to check, locate the element and store the value in web element, then apply is enable method to verify the element. Now here, we are testing a website. We are testing the ITLearn 360 website, the demo of ITLearn 360 website. So we'll go and we'll check the button over there in that website. So let me show you the website. What exactly I'm going to do here is, this is the website. Let me share the website screen. So yeah, now this is the website. Here I will locate this button, book demo button. I'll check whether this button is enabled or disabled. So I'll just do right click, I'll inspect this, and this shows the shaded highlighted section. Now I'll write code for this. So let me create a class and name this class as enabled button, and take that public static void main. And as usual, I'll copy the first three steps, and in place of infotech, I'll pass the demo ITLearn 360 website. That's this one. And here, now knowingly that is enabled returns the values in form of a boolean. So I'll use a boolean value here. And in this boolean value, first I will locate the driver dot find elements, and here I'll say by dot XPath. So I'll take the XPath, I'll get to the website here, right click, go to copy XPath, and paste it over here. Now because I have used boolean, so I'll use is enabled method. Now once this is done, using en, I'll call, or straight away, because this will store the boolean value. So I'll write if en. That means if this boolean is true, it will print that the button is enabled, or else the button is disabled. That's to condition. Now let's save this and run this program. So when I run this program, this website opens here. And here in the console window, I'll get the output. If the output is enabled, the button is enabled, I get the output. That means it's working. So is enabled returns the value as true, and there this condition match, and it prints me the button is enabled. So this is how we check a button is enabled or not in a web page. So till now in forms, we have automated the input box, we have automate the radio buttons and checkbox. Now we are working on the drop downs. Now this is an interesting section where you will see that how you will select the values from the drop downs and print it in the output. So let's see what exactly the drop down is and how we use it. So drop downs are used mostly in web form to a single or multiple select values from it. In Selenium WebDrivers, we use select as class to handle the dropdown. Now here, to handle the dropdown, a class comes into use that's select. Now the methods provided by Selenium WebDrivers are as follows: select by index, select by value, and select by visibility text. So you have three methods here: select by index, select by value, and select by visibility text. So these methods basically, what it does is, these methods helps you to select the content, or I say select the values from the drop down. So two things to remember here is these methods, the different methods here, and the class, the select class. Select is the class that's used to select the values from drop down. Now the steps are quite similar, just you need to keep in mind that here you will locate two items. One will be where you locate the section where the dropdown is applied. So inspect and locate the dropdown section, pass the located value in the constructor of select class. So the section that you inspect, that section will pass in constructor and then select the value from the dropdown using the method required. Now these are the steps here. Now let's see how we'll do in real time. Now you see, this is the drop down section. Country is the drop down section, and these are the values in drop down. So I said like drop downs are of two types. You can select one value at a time, or you select multiple values in drop down. So both the options are available. So here we'll write drop down for both, where we will try to select one value at a time, and as well as we'll try to select multiple values. So I do right click here, I do inspect, and just I'll go through the steps what I've just now seen. So first we'll be using the select class. Then we will inspect the section. So country is the section and the values are these. So now let's start doing this. Now I'll use this select class, create an object of this. So the object of select class, I'll take this as country, write cn is equals to new select. Now I said in the constructor of the select class, I'll pass the country section locator. So this is the country section. So let's pass the value for this. Browser object dot find elements by dot name, and in name I'll take this country locator. So in the constructor I'm passing this locator country. That's what you have to do. And remember, always in constructor you have to pass this, and take your mouse to this select and import the select option from Selenium. So now once this class is available for you, then using this object you'll call the method select by visibility text, visible text, and I'll pass the text over here. Whichever selects you want to select, whichever text you want to select. So here I want to select India. So I'll take this value. So now what will happen here is this value will be selected. Now if you apply one more select by visibility text for another item, then in that case the last value that's clicked, that will be visible here. So that you need to keep in mind. Now the same way we'll do for the next one, that is the skills one. So I'll create an object for this as well. And in skills, I'll say new and write select, and then to here, and I say browser object dot find elements, and I say here by dot name, and again I take the locator from here. This name is skill. So I write skill, and using this object of skill, now here I can take multiple values. Now that's the difference between both. So here I can take multiple values, like I can take the values like this. As well as I can take the values as the text as programming. So we can take multiple values from here. So when both multiple values are copied, then I'll save. Now the drop down is done. So this one where I'm taking one values at a time, and here where I'm taking multiple values at the same time. Now here we'll see how this is operating. Now let me run this code. So when I run this code, you see here, first it opens. Now it selects the value. Just check the drop down section. First it selects the value India, though it's very fast, but still you will be able to see. And then it selected the multiple values. So here it shows the country India, and the multiple values are selected as well. So this is how drop down works, and this is how we operate the drop downs in Selenium. So you have come across number of alerts where you see when you are using something, you come up with an alert message just asking for confirmation, or just asking whether you are allowed to access to that page, just like these type of alerts confirmation. So here we'll see the different types of alerts, and then we'll see how to handle those alerts. So let's talk about first alert. So alert is basically a message or notification that gives information or asks for permissions to users to perform a certain type of operations in a web page. So basically, alert is that where you get some message or notification in your current web page so that users can perform operations like different operations like you can accept the alert, you can cancel the alert, and then you can move to the next page. Now there are different types of alert in Selenium. So the different types of alerts are Selenium alert, prompt alert, and confirm alert. Now if we talk about the methods used in alert, so these are the methods that you'll be using in alert. The one is accept alert, that's used to accept the alert. Dismiss method, that's used to dismiss the alert. Send keys, that's used to send the values to a particular input text in alert. And switch to is to switch the access from the current web page to the alert box. Now we'll be using all these methods in our example and then we'll see how it's working. Now let's see what this simple alert is. So in simple alert, the alert contains only one options. Once the alert box is visible, then in the case the alert needs to be handled first, then switch to the current page. So here you have only one option. That means you have to only accept the alert. Now when it comes to the confirmation alert, here you have multiple of options. So here either you can accept the alert or you can cancel the alert. So in confirmation alert, we have two options. Either we can accept or cancel the alert. So in this case, both the options are available to select. Now the next one is interesting. This one is prompt alert. Now usually you get prompt messages and what you happen here is that in this alert box, you have to enter the name. So this alert box looks like this. Here when you value the value that you will enter here, that value will basically pass. And then when you do OK, so that value will pass to the web page. So in case you want to pass values through alert, then in that case, you will use the prompt alert. Now we'll see how to automate all these types of alerts in our code. So all these three alerts, we'll see how we can automate them all. So let's get back to this example. So here we have three alerts. First one is this alert. Now, one thing you notice once the alert box or alert text is opened, then the web page is not working. You do anything in the web page, it's not happening. So it's like web page goes blank. So in this case, what happens is we have to switch our access from the current web page to the alert box. So once we accept the alert, you get the message you accepted the alert. Again, in confirm me, when you cancel the alert, you get the message you canceled. And in prompt me, if you send some values, and that value, when you press enter, you see, hello, Mr. Bond, how are you today? This value is passed. So now that this is how the alerts looks like. Now let's try this alert in our real-time example. Now here, to use alert, we'll use a class that's called as alert class. So just like for dropdowns, the class used was select. Here for alert, the class used will be alert. And again, I'll create a reference of this alert and I say new alert. Now here I need to import this alert. And in the constructor of this alert, I'll pass the. Now, once the alert is the object is created, then what we will do, it's like we'll go and from there, first we'll click the alert button and then we'll pass the values accordingly. So same is the story here. It's like first you go, you click the button and then like you'll get the alert box and then handle that alert. So once we have created an object of alert, the next step will be here. We need to switch our access from the current page to the alert box. That's what our next step is. So in next step, we'll handle next page. In next step, we will write. We'll switch the access from the current page to the alert box. So in this alert itself, here in the alert itself, I'll pass the value like browser object dot, it's browser object dot switch to. Now switch to is the method to switch your access from the current screen to the alert box. So I do switch to alert. So now my access is switched from the current screen to the alert box. So once my access is switched from here to the alert box, then in this case I'll write alert one dot accept method. So when I do this, then in this case that particular alert is accepted. Now we'll move to the next alert. In next alert, we are trying to cancel the alert because we have multiple options. So we'll see how to handle the alert in terms of cancel. So again, I'll do alert, and this time I'll do alert 2 dot alert 2 is equals to browser object dot switch to alert box. And here we'll do, let's name it as alert 2. So here we will cancel the alert. So here we'll use the dismiss method to cancel the alert. The two things that we are missing here is that we are not clicking on the alert buttons here. So what we have to do here is we have to click on alert buttons as well. So here in this form, one of the alert button is this alert me. So I'll do inspect this and then locate this element. This one based on the ID alert, and the next one confirm alert and prompt alert. So we'll use these alerts. We'll first click on these buttons and then the alert box will be open. So for the first one, this will be the locator values. So it will click on the alert button and then the alert box will open. For second one, this will be the locator value. And this will help you to click the confirm button. And for the third one, that is where you will do prompt me. So in that one, we'll use the prompt one. Now again, I'll do create an alert reference this time. Again, I'll switch my access. And using this alert reference, now this time, here I'll call send keys method because this third one is a prompt alert. So here I need to send some values. I'll send the values as Mr. Bond. And after sending the values, what I'll do is I need to accept that alert. So first you send the values and then accept it so that you can use that alert. So I do accept the value here. So now this value will pass and it will accept the value. Now one more small thing that I missed here is, you see these alerts are available after the send keys. So I'll cut these steps and put it below the send keys. So if you see in diagram, if you see in the website, these alert buttons are visible below the send keys. So first we'll perform the send keys, then we'll come to the alert section. So just I have moved this part below the submit button. Now everything is done. Now let's run this code and see how it's operating. Now you see, so one by one the alerts will open. First time the first alert, second alert, and third alert. Now the execution here is very fast. And you see the value, Mr. Bond, how are you today is passed. So you notice here the execution is very fast. So just to slow down the execution here, now this is for our convenience. To slow down the execution here, we'll use a class in Java that's thread.sleep class. And in this class, I'll pass a time limit. Like when I pass time limit as 4000, it means 4 seconds. So now when I do this, just to handle any type of interruptions, I need to add this add throw declaration to this method. So once this declaration is added, then if there is any interruption, this code will not throw any errors. So this line thread.sleep is basically used to hold a particular code for the given time limit that you have passed. So if I have passed the time limit as 4 seconds, so for uh, before executing the next step, that is line number 60, this code will wait here for 4 seconds. That's what the use of thread.sleep is. Now you can see how this thing is working, the alert button, because the execution is slowed down. Now everything is passed. First, the alert box clicked. First one is selected. Now it gives a hold of 4 seconds. Second one is displayed. And the third one will be also like prompt me. And you see that's also pop up and that's also handled. So this is how we handle the alerts. And just you need to remember few things here is first the class that we'll be using, second the method that we'll be using, and then we'll see how to switch the values, how to switch the access from the browser object to the alert box. So we have seen before how to send values to the input boxes as well as how to click on send button. Now we'll see how to handle the radio buttons. Now using radio buttons is very easy. So radio buttons are the one of the most manageable element in form. We can easily automate the button using only one locator available. In case of radio button, if we have multiple radio buttons for same section, then in that case, the last selected value will get selected. Remember this line, this is very important. In case of radio button, if we have multiple radio buttons for same section, then in that case, the last value that you have selected, that one will pass. Now this is how the radio button looks like and the steps to perform. Again, the first 3 steps will be common. Next, you have to inspect the radio button. In this example, the locator value is common for all the 3 radio buttons. So in this case, we'll go for XPath. Now, this is one point that you need to know. In this case of radio button, when you do here when you go to female, right click here and then inspect. Now here you see you're not able to get the exact section because right now I'm in female and the highlighted section is form. So in this situation, what you'll do is here on top, you see this arrow button. So you click on this arrow button and see the color changes to blue. Now, once the color changes to blue, now you can bring this arrow here to the female. And when you bring and click here, you see the highlighted section is there. So this is also a way to inspect element. In case you are not able to do by that way, right click, inspect, and then get the value, you can do this way. Now here, if you see in this locator, you have name is equals to gender. Now this name is equals to gender is common in all 3 values, or you can say in all 3 sections. Now this will be confusing that which name locator should you go for. When you do name is equals to gender, then every time it will take the first value. What about the next 2? So in this type of situations, we go for the XPath. And it's quite clear that you know how to write the XPath. We have seen this in the XPath videos. So straight away, we are going to write code for this in the existing code. So again, we'll add one line of code here. And I'll write browser object dot find elements and write by dot XPath. Now in this case, as it's mentioned in radio buttons, that if we have multiple values in for one section, then in that case, the last selected value will pass. So now here we have 3 radio buttons. And if I click the female, then female will pass. If I click male, male will pass. If I click others, the others will pass. So in this case, do I click on each and every buttons? So each and every buttons are like it will click and the values will pass accordingly. Now you can write code for all the 3 buttons just to see that click is working or not. So I would suggest that write code for all. So just do this way, go copy the XPath and paste it here. And this will be for male. Now because you are doing click, so you'll write the click method here. Now you can copy the same step and then this time you can go for female. Sorry, this time you can go for male and this is for male. So you can right click again, go to copy the XPath and just paste it here straight away. Now, instead of this, you can write the XPath manually, but right now I like to do this way. So both the ways you can do, it will work in both the situations. Now for the last one. Now, though the last selected value will pass, but still I perform click in these sections so that like when the code runs, basically I can see that all buttons are in clickable form or not. So now this goes for the last one, where you will put the XPath for the third one. So at the end, the values with the other locator, that the other radio button, that will pass and the rest will not, but click will perform on all the radio buttons. I save this, I run this code, and now see the screen here, and you see the values passes here, and the last one, that is others. In gender, the last value is passed, that is others. So this is the radio button that's passed here, and this value goes. So its click is performed in everyone, just the last selected value will pass here. So that's how we locate the radio buttons, and that's how we perform click on radio buttons. Now, this is a very simple thing, and it's just a process to go click and see the changes happening, or basically you'll see the options, the hidden options visible. So that's what Accordance is. So here, when you'll see Accordance, I'll show you the Accordance through an example, and then we will try to implement that. So if you talk about Accordance, this is the Accordance thing you see here. Uh, when you click on this section, you get the hidden part. That's what Accordance is. So when you click on this, you get the hidden part. Usually it's not visible, but when you click, that part is visible to you. Now, how to automate this? So it's very simple. You see, already I have written these steps. I have passed the website links here. Now to do Accordance, I'll just do right click. I'll go to inspect. And when I do this, I'm to this highlighted section. As usual, I'll do copy, and I'll do copy XPath. Now I write browser object dot find elements by dot XPath, and just put the value here and do click. So this is the first one. Now for the second one, go right click, again to inspect, and here it's again do the XPath, right click, go copy the XPath, again write browser object dot find element by dot XPath, and just paste the XPath and do click here. And you will see the accordance taking place. Now let's run this code and see how this accordance is working. So let's run this and see the accordance. This page opens. Now the first section is opened. So when a click will perform here, this will close. What is, you see, by default it's open. So once the website is open, the first time when you will click, so this section will close. It's taking time, it's taking longer to open the web page. So let's wait for this to execute. Now you see the first one gets closed. So this is how the accordance is working here. So it's like when you do XPath, you click, then that particular section closes. So this is about the accordance. See you with another topic. So when we work with the links in Selenium, there are some times where you'll come across the broken lines. So we'll see what exactly these broken lines are and how to automate these broken lines in Selenium. Now, a broken line, also often called as deadline, is one that does not work or that does not redirect to a web page it is meant to. So these usually occur because the website's a particular web page is down or does not exist. So a broken line in Hyper is a hyperlink that points to a page or resource that does not exist. Broken lines are those links that don't point to any specific web page. Finding a broken line is a difficult task. Every time when a website is developed, the links are checked by a group of programmers or testers, but after the website is developed, for some reason, a broken line may arise. Sometimes a proper web page address can be changed. So this can arise a broken line problem. Or sometimes the target web page is disappeared. In such cases, broken line links can be found. So broken link, it's like in short, we can say broken link is a link that usually is not in working condition, or because of certain changes, that particular link got deactivated. So we'll through test, we'll figure it out that which are those links that's broken and it's not working. The common reasons for broken link, it's like this page not found. So it's like destination web page has been removed by the owner. 404 400 bad request. The server cannot process that HTTP request triggered by the link because the URL address requested is wrong. Due to users' firewall settings, the browser cannot access the designated web pages. So these are a few reasons behind the broken lines, and this is why the broken lines are occurred. Now, in terms of testing, we'll see how to use these broken lines. So this is the class of a broken line. Here, what we'll do, it's like we'll test a web page where we'll see how the broken line is working. So as usual, I'll take few classes from here. I'll take the steps, the common steps, that is these 3 lines. And here I'll first pass the website link. Now the website link here is this. And I'll paste the website link here. Now here, first we'll take all the A tags because you know that the broken lines can be fetched through A tags. That means through links. So using this list, we'll take the list of all the A tags available. So let me import this list, and this list will help to fetch all the A tags, and I'll store all the A tags in web element. Once these are stored, then I'll start using them. So by doing this, I'll get all the A tags available in that particular web page. Now here I built a method that is verify a URL. So in this method, basically I'll call a method verify URL. And in this method, when we call this method here, here we'll verify the URL based on the conditions. Now what conditions? Based on the response code condition. So here we'll check the response code condition. So it's like in URL, we'll say that here we'll pass the URL, whichever the URL we get based on href, that URL we'll pass here. And using HTTP URL connection, using this request, we'll link the open connection and we'll set a certain timeout. So if the connection get response code, so if this is equals to 200, that is if it's valid, then in that case I'll get the output that the response message, I'll get a valid output, else I will get a broken line. So you know that 200 request is a valid request. That means it's okay that the link is working. But if this is not the request, then in that case I will get the else output. And here I have added this inside try and catch because I'm applying the HTTP request URL. So there is chances of throwing exceptions. Now let's run this code and see how it's function. So as usual, the website opens. And here in the Eclipse, you'll get the list of the one that's broken. So here in this case, we don't find any broken lines. Usually all are good because here it's all are okay. So that means everything is fine. If there would be any broken line, then I would have got that broken line here. So this is how we test the broken lines and we print the broken lines. And this is how we apply the broken lines to our current web page.
So synchronization uses in Selenium is basically a concept where we apply or basically while working with Selenium, it usually happens that a page or element in web page takes time to upload. Now the problem here is Selenium gets very less time to upload or just to execute a code. It's minimum 0 to 3 seconds. That's the time period provided by Selenium to execute a code. Now the problem here is in this limited time, sometimes some element takes time to upload, and it's like though the element is available, it's not able to automate. So then there is, in this case, we go with the synchronization concepts. So in Selenium WebDriver, synchronization can be divided in two parts. One is unconditional synchronization, and second one is conditional synchronization. So in unconditional synchronization, the concept of synchronization comes from Java language, where we just specify the timeout limit. It pauses the code for particular time specified, and then it starts to execute the next line of code. So the method you'd use here is thread.sleep and wait. So you have used this thread.sleep in your code, where you have seen that a code is completely hold for a given time, whatever the time you passed. So this synchronize the code is like, you can say this is an unconditional. There is no condition based here. The second one is conditional based. So in conditional based synchronization, conditions will be set along with the timeout limit. Code will wait for the specified time, declare the expected condition, get satisfied, then it executes the next line of code. So here in case of wait, what it does, you pass the time limit. So what happens, it waits for a given time and it specifies that, okay, you are waiting for this element. I got this element. So you waited for this much time. Okay, fine. Let's execute that code. So once that element is found, then only it will move to the next line. If it's not found, then it will stop there itself. That's the story of unconditional and conditional. So in case of unconditional, there is no condition. It's like it's still just you have passed the time and it waits. Though you get the element or not, it starts executing. But in this case, if you don't get the element, it will stop executing there itself. That's only the difference between the unconditional and conditional synchronization. So implicit wait in Selenium, this is a concept that comes inside the conditional synchronization. And the implicit wait, basically, it's a command, Selenium command that's used in test automation to handle the dynamic load of web elements. Now the story is very simple. These waits are basically used to hold the code for a given time, because due to the default timing, it's not able to execute. Now the thing is that we add our own time limit. So implicit wait is a wait that's applied to the complete web page. So Selenium has a built-in way to automatically wait for the elements to appear. The minimum time for code execution is 0 to 3 seconds. In some cases, element need more time than the default timing. So in that case, we use implicit wait. So in wait, the time duration passed means that the execution process will wait for the past time. Once the element is located before the time allotted, then in that case, the time execution stops and executes as a normal process. So for example, for an element, you passed a time limit as 10 seconds. And there it found that the element was found in some around 5 seconds of time. So it's not going to wait for another 5 seconds. So in that 5 seconds itself, it will execute and then move to the next step. In case you have applied implicit wait and the implicit wait is not required, then it's fine. The code will execute as it executes. So that's the beauty of implicit wait. Now this is how we write the implicit wait. We write driver.manage.timeout.implicity wait to pass the waits. And in this waits, we pass the time duration as well. So we'll try this implicit wait in one of the program where we'll try to write the login code. We'll try to write the login code for the e-learning website. So this is the e-learning website. In this website, we'll click the login button. Then we'll enter the username, we'll enter the password, and then click the login button. So the scenario here is when we click on the login button, and then we move to the login screen, there is chances that here it may take time for the elements to pass or to locate. So in this case, implicit wait can be applied. The thing is that more important to know is that how to apply the implicit wait. That's more important to know. So let's create a class and name that class as login class. Login process. Yeah, that's fine. And as usual, I'll take few steps. I'll copy the few steps from there, which already is done. So I'll take these steps from here and just I'll change the website link. Rest will remain same.
So I change the website link here itself. I copy the website link and paste it here. Now, once this is done, I'll locate element one by one. So it's like I'll go to this elements. Again, we'll locate this e-commerce. We'll see how this website is working. So we'll locate all these elements. First, we'll see the process, how it's working. Then we'll go through it one by one. So now here, this is the login button. So I'll click on this login button and then I'll enter the username. So to get this login button details, I'll do inspect and it's here. So I can use this ID here. So straight away, I'll write code for this where I will use this to, sorry, this will be for click. So for click, we'll use this. So I'm taking the XPath straight away. I've already written this code for this section. Just I'm putting it here and you can try both ways using ID or using XPath. The next one is where I'm using ID to locate the login button, the username button especially. And here I'll enter the username that is using send keys says demo 12. Same for the password. I'll pass the password as well here. That is test 12345 6 $. Now, everything looks fine. So where to apply the implicit weight? So implicit weight I'll apply straight away. I'll apply it just before opening the website link or just after opening the website link. That is here. So I'll apply the implicit weight here, and this is how I'll write browser object.manage.timeout and the implicit weight. And inside this, I'll pass the time limit. So if required, it will give you extra 10 seconds. And because I have mentioned time.second, so this will be applied as second. So this is how we apply implicit weight to our current web page. So that's the story of implicit weight. Now let's run this code. And see the screen. So it clicks on the login button, takes the username password, and then click the login button. Now, if something goes wrong, it will wait for the 10 seconds. But the thing is, after this, I have not put the code for the submit. So that's why it stopped here. So I can put the code for submit here as well. That is this. So I hope now you are quite familiar to locate this or just automate this login process. It's very simple. So again, I run this and now this time you see we are able to log in to the website. So that's how the login process applies. And this is how we apply the implicit weight to a particular code and execute the code in a proper manner. Now in implicit weight, we just check that the implicit weight is applied on the complete web page. And in explicit weight, it's different from the implicit weight. How is it different? We'll see that. So by using explicit wait command, the WebDriver is directed to await until a certain condition occurs before proceeding with executing the code. So setting explicit wait is important in case where there are certain elements that naturally take more time to load. Now, in case of explicit wait, this is applied on certain element. And implicit wait, it's applied on complete web page. So remember this difference between implicit wait and the explicit wait. Now, the expected condition calls provides many methods. So we can use for checking expected condition. like element to clickable, invisibility of, presence of element located, text to be present in element, visibility of. So these are different methods that's added to the expected condition. Now the syntax of this explicit wait is a bit confusing, so you need to follow the steps exactly what it's trying to say. So here in case of explicit wait, we use a class that's called as WebDriver wait class, and we create a reference of this. And in WebDriver wait class, we pass driver, duration of seconds, and then the time. We pass that. Now, along with that, using wait, we call the until method. Now, in until method, we pass expected condition dot visibility of element located. So now this section, using this reference, we call the until method, and then we call the expected condition. That's the class calls the visibility of element, and inside that we pass the element. Now, if we talk about implicit wait, now this is the code for the implicit wait. So just here in this code, we are seeing how to apply this wait. So it's not that we are seeing that we are not experiencing the explicit wait, but we see that how to apply it. So it's in some cases you'll come across with the element, you'll come across the elements where these weights are applied. So if you get errors like no such element exceptions or no such element found, so when you get these types of errors, there you will apply this explicit wait. So how to apply it? So just I have passed a simple Google Chrome code, and there I'm applying this thing. I apply this wait here. So this is the line of wait that I have to apply here. I'll create a reference of this WebDriver, put it here. And once the reference is created, now here in this reference, we pass the browser object as well as duration of time seconds. Now the next thing is what we do here is, like here, I'm trying to apply this wait on a Gmail text. In Google Chrome page, I'm trying to apply this on Gmail text. We have already seen this example where we were trying to look for the link text in the Gmail. This time we are trying to apply this explicit wait on Gmail. So in this Gmail link, we try to apply using wait.until. So in this until method, I passed expected condition dot visibility of element located. So by using this expected condition, I pass visibility of element. Now this is the method. As you remember in the slides I mentioned, along with the expected condition, I'll go for the methods. And this is the method that I'll go for. And in this method, I'll pass the Gmail text that we are looking for. So we have passed the XPath of this. So it's quite clear from this that this wait is applied on Gmail text. So once this is applied, so this is how we'll apply this. Inside using the reference, we'll call until method, and inside the until method, the expected condition class and the method visibility of text. So by doing this, wait is applied. Now when I run this code, so you'll see the wait, the Google Chrome opens, again the complete process runs, and at the end, the code is passed. So there is no error. So it's like if I pass a time limit of 30 seconds, so you see nothing is applied here, no time limit is applied. But if this wait was needed, or if in case this wait is needed, then this wait will apply on that. Right now it's not needed, so wait is not applied on the explicit wait. So this is how we use the explicit wait and apply the explicit wait on code. So this Fluent wait is similar to the explicit wait, but in this Fluent wait, we have added few things. And this is needed to add because this will give a more variety to the wait concept. So let's understand what exactly the Fluent wait is. To put it simply, Fluent wait looks for a web element repeatedly at regular interval until timeout happens or until the object is found. Fluent wait commands are most useful when interacting with web element that can take longer duration to load. This is sometimes that often occurs in Ajax application. The wait time and polling intervals are set using with the timeout and polling every method, respectively, while the ignoring method specifies any exceptions to ignore during the wait. So if you see the syntax of Fluent wait, here we have added two things. One is polling over, and the next one is ignoring. So in these two cases, what happens is in case of Fluent wait, here you'll see it's like the polling every polling. It means like when you put a time limit of 5 seconds, so it will wait for the 5 seconds. If the element is not found for the 5 seconds, then again it will wait for another 5 seconds. This will go on till you get the expected output. Till the output you find, this polling event will keep working. Now in case if you want to ignore something, like if you know that while waiting for a continuous process there is chances of throwing exceptions, so just in that case you can ignore exceptions. So that's why an ignoring thing is added. So these two features are new that added to this Fluent wait, that's not present in implicit wait. Now let's see this implementation in real time program. So this is a Fluent Wait class where I have just used the Google Chrome page. And in this Google Chrome page, I've just entered the value Selenium. And this is like the way we used to enter the value and search a data in Google Chrome. And after that, I'll add here the Fluent concept. So the very first thing what I'll add here is the Fluent Wait thing. So I'll add that. So here I'll add the time durations and all along with it. Now let me import this Fluent Wait, import the web drivers as well. Again, import these durations as well. And also you can import this no such element exceptions. So now here, this is how you use the Fluent Wait. You use the Fluent Wait class, you use the wait along with it, you create a reference of it. And in this you pass the timeout, then you pass the polling every duration, and then what you have to ignore. Once this is done, then we will write the code for web element function. So in this web element function, I will look for the text as Selenium. So in this web element, first I'll look for the text that is, I'm looking for the text Selenium. If that's visible, then in that case, I'll get the output that element is found, or else it will wait for a given time and then it will move to the else part. So here I created a method. In this method, what I'm doing is return type is web element. So in this method, what I'm doing, just I locate the Selenium text, and here I've added the partial link text. So if the element is enabled, then I'll get the element is found. If not, then I'll get element is not found. Now this thing, this method, whatever I'm doing here, I've returned, whatever I'm doing is I'm doing inside, I'm doing this thing inside the function. So here I have created web element is equals to, and using this wait I call until. Now this until method we used in the explicit wait as well, and we are using it in Fluent wait here as well. So this wait is basically based on the condition. So if the condition passed, then this will give you the output, or else it will wait till the condition passes. So you see how this works. So here you have different options added along with the wait that you applied in case of explicit wait. So somewhat it's similar, but better than what we are using before. So just I'll save this. I'll run this code and let's see the output here. So it's opened the Google Chrome page. It searched for Selenium. Now here I'm looking for this text Selenium. So once it gets this text here, then it performs click on that Selenium. As I have mentioned, that at the end you have to do element dot click. So after it's identified, and then you see it gets element is found. That means that text, this element text was available, so I got the text here. So here you see two things. First, I have used Fluent Wait, added the methods here, and second, inside the web element itself, I'm creating my own functions, and based on this function, I'm performing my test case. So that's how we apply the Fluent Wait to our current code, and that's how it executes. So we'll see how to handle the pop-ups in Selenium WebDriver. So there are few methods that helps to handle the pop-up, and now the pop-up is quite different from the alert thing. So it's like usually it says that alert and pop-up are two same thing, but no, it's a different thing. In alert is like basically we have methods, we have classes where we can straight away switch to the alert box and handle that alert. But in case of pop-up, it's not like that. In case of pop-up, it's somewhat it's different. So let's see what's different here. So here, in case of pop-up, basically a pop-up usually refers to a separate window or tab in a web browser pop-up usually gets triggered by user actions like click on buttons or click or running a web page. Pop-up is a window that display or pop-ups on the screen due to some activity. So because of some activities, the pop-up screen displays. And to handle this pop-up, the methods are driver.getWindowHandles, driver.getWindowHandle. So it's like Windows handles and handle are these two methods that's usually used to handle the pop-up. Now these Windows handles and handles, basically what happens, it's like by this we get the current window or we get the exact window that we are looking for. And from there we start figuring out that in which window we have to work on. So here I'll just show you a glimpse of pop-up, what exactly it is and how it looks. So here in this page, you see there is an option that is open a new window link, or you see you will come up with an option that is, I'll show you, open a pop-up window. So when you click on this open a pop-up window, if pop-up opens, and now here you can switch to this window and perform task here, whatever the task is required. So that's what pop-up is like. A new tab opens in the current tab, or you can say new windows opens in a current web page. That's what pop-up is. Now, let's do a code on this pop-up and understand how it's functioning. So I'll create a class and name this class as pop-up class. Finish. Now here, first I'll add the first few steps where I put the website link. So I've written it here. I'll paste it straight away. Now, once this is done, then the next step is, now here, what will be my next step? So the next step will be, I'll click on that pop-up window. That will be my next step. But before that, let's take the window screen, or let's say which window screen we are in right now. So here we're using string. I'll say browser object get window handle. So this will give me the idea of the windows. Using the window handle, I'll get the idea of the screen which I am into. Now using browser object dot find element, first I'll click the pop-up window, and then I'll try. Now once the pop-up window is open, so you have multiple windows open here. Now what you have to do here is you have to handle these windows. So how you will handle? So now knowingly that, now I'll create a string. So basically I'll say windows is equals to, here I'll say browser object dot get window, sorry, get, I'll say browser object dot get window handles. Now here when you have multiple windows, now again this thing I'll put it in form of string. I say it's like I'll put it in form of set. So I'll use the set in Java where I'll get the list set of all windows that's open. Now once I get the set of all windows open, so from there I can figure it out which one is the parent one and which one is the child one accordingly. So here I say for, so now here I'll be using the for loop to handle the situation. Like here in for loop, first I'll say switch to the windows. So I'll try to get all the windows in one. So that's why I'll use the for loop. So when I use this here, in for loop, I get all the windows. So once the windows are available, then I ask this browser object to switch to the window screen, that is the pop-up one. And I check in the pop-up one, the one that is in pop-up, I check the title of the pop-up. So if it's like, this is the title of the real-time pop-up screen. So I say if the title is new window, then in that case, maximize that. And then once task is done, then close it. That's what I'm trying to do here. So in this case of pop-up, what I do here, I'm first comparing the title. So based on title, I identify my window that, okay, this is my window and this is the pop-up window. So I identify based on the titles. Now, when you run this code, you'll find so when you run this window, you'll see the web page opens, and based on the title, now this is the title. get new window. This is the title. Based on this title, the pop-up screen opens. It maximized because I have asked here to maximize. And once maximized, it closed the browser. So right now I don't have anything to do in the pop-up, but this is how we handle the pop-up. So this is the situation of pop-up where we handle using different types of windows. Basically using the get windows handle, we handle the pop-up thing. I hope